Hi everyone, we're back for day 30 of Junk Journal January 2024, and this one is travel. So because I had bought this little book out the other day and had a look at it, I thought I might use something that sparked a memory from it. Now I've printed out the rubbings of the number plate that I did, and they kind of, they do spark a memory for me. It's got normal copy paper, so I've got this gap here. I thought I'd glue these in the middle as a way to make a little cover, and I thought I'd make a little booklet. Now if I butt these up as close as possible, but just leaving a tiny little gap in the middle, that will give us a fold. And just put some glue on this side, folding it over. I particularly like this the most. The two bits of photographic paper have kind of dictated where I'm folding this, so even though this is a little bit off, I can just get my knife and cut it down. I'm going to put the spine on one of the lines on my cutting mat, and just shuffle it down a little bit. And the same again. Actually, I will do this opposite side. This way I'm keeping it as square as I can possibly keep it. I'm just using the top or the bottom, depending on which way I orient it, to line up and get a right angle on this edge here. So I've got the potential of that being the front, we've got your inside, and that being the back. So if I was to do it this way, I would probably be annoyed that that's upside down. So it's going to be, this is going to be the front, and I love that as a front. That's a perfect little front. I've got a couple of pages of a book here, and I'm just going to fold those in half. Now they're definitely going to be too big for this little cover, so I want that to be just inside the top and bottom. Alright, so because I may want to take these little pages out and do something with them, I'm just going to use this bit of ribbon to tie them together. So this is just, I could actually sew it all together, but you never know, you could pull it apart and do some, and you want to add some more pages in or take some out, and so right at this moment, this is what I'm doing for this, to make this little booklet, plus using up little bits that I've got sitting around. Right, so I've got a little handy dandy book. All I have to do is just give a little trim on the edge here. Nice slow little even cuts. Now this reminds me of my travels, and I've got this little tea bag. So like I say, it was all about tea. this junk journal was meant to be all about tea. So my friend gave me some little packets from T2, and well, this is just going in here. So the funny thing about travel, just tell a little story. I was born in London, so the interesting thing about this is that even though I am reminding myself of a trip to America, prior to that I had a trip to England so this was about 2006, I think. But in 2000 I went to England. My children were quite young, and I went there because all my relatives, I was born in London, all my relatives are there, and I kind of went on a little bit of a pilgrimage to meet all my relatives. And they were fascinating and showed me what it might have been like to have grown up there with family there. So I realised when I came back home to Australia that Australia really actually was home, and that even though all my relatives are overseas, it was great to connect with family. When I landed back in Melbourne and my children were here, we went to the zoo and we saw the kangaroos, and I just realised actually this is home to me. So it was a bit of a surprise. Bit of a surprise. So for me, travel, I absolutely love travel. I really enjoy it. I enjoy the experiences. I enjoy the culture, the cooking, the eating, different smells and sights. But in the end, there is a place that you call home, and that for me ended up being Australia. So I'm just having a little doodle on the page, making a little, this is not quite a gum leaf, but it reminds me of that sense when I landed back in Australia of the blue skies, the gum leaves. And I'm just going to put a little bit of tea. This is actually the tea from the Melbourne breakfast. I just made a pot. It's delicious. It's not quite as dark as perhaps I'd like it to be, but that's my little anecdote about travelling that is quite fascinating. And I have to leave this to dry. Put a bit more of this vintage photo around the edges. Grunge it up a little bit. And this would be what I would be doing in my book. If I was taking this little book around with me, I would whip out something like this little notepad and do some sketches. So I know this has got to dry, but I've got to find a place in the book for this. So tomorrow's prompt is reflect, and for me that'll probably mean looking back and having some observations. I don't know where I'm putting this. It just might be one of these things that I just tuck in to the closed book. It's gotten quite chunky. I think that's what's happening. It's just going to go in there. So I hope you get an inspiration for what to do maybe with something that you've made on your travels, and how this can be a little tiny book of inspiration and thought. And I will see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Bye for now.